By this, you will know the moment when the universe decides to send you the right person. Welcome to Spirit of Evo. Time is relative. For the universe, time has no meaning. How often in life do we long for a partner or a friend? Or for that one special person for life who shares everything with us and is always there for us? These special forms of interpersonal relationships do not necessarily have to be partnerships. Maternal or paternal mentors would also be helpful sometimes. The universe takes your orders 24 hours a day. However, when actually delivered is decided by higher powers and not us. This waiting time can make us impatient and incredulous. On the other hand, if you manage to keep reminding yourself that we will receive everything that is destined for us, you can relax deeply and let the warmth of certainty flow into your heart. In this podcast, we'll show you 6 reliable signs that will get you ready to welcome a new important person into your life very soon. And these are the unmistakable clues. Number 1. An important healing process has been completed. Nothing can grow on scorched earth. Therefore, it seems logical that a wounded heart and soul must first heal in order to be fully ready for something new. Healing, however, can also mean successfully leaving disappointments behind and putting negative experiences once and for all into the treasure chest of life wisdom called the past. Try above all to silence the cynic in you. After a certain age, no one should be naive, but the opposite of this is bitterness and austerity. These are not a good starting point for new things. Not all women are unfaithful beings. Not all men are heartbreakers. Healing is essentially drawing a line in the sand. Be really and truly open to new experiences and people. Observe yourself when you speak to others. Choose your words appreciatively or at least neutrally. Poison and bile because of your suffering from earlier times with other people. No one deserves who has just entered your circle. Number 2. It's time for a lesson. The opposite of the previous point can also happen. It's time to learn something important. Therefore, it's time for a new acquaintance. This sounds more ominous than it ultimately needs to be. New people are always an enrichment to our lives. Even if they rekindle a storm of emotions, a mental distress, or the fire of passion. It can finally be time for great love or, unfortunately, sometimes time for great pain. The meaning behind such experiences usually takes some time to reveal itself to our minds. If you manage to look at every encounter from the point of view of learning, at some point there will only be enriching encounters. You don't necessarily have to develop Buddhist serenity. Just realize that you can learn something from everything that happens in your life. Be grateful for it and direct your gaze forward. Number 3. You have finally found yourself. Are you at peace with yourself? Congratulations. Then perhaps it's time to set out for new interpersonal shores. Relationships and partnerships in particular can only really succeed when we are completely at peace with ourselves. If you can't be a good friend to yourself, it's best not to approach other people at first, because we then expect others to make us happy and complete us. This is not only the worst possible starting point for a relationship, but also quite a lot to ask of someone we have just met. However, if you feel you can give the best, the perfect of yourself, there should soon be a silver lining on the horizon. Knowing ourselves and, more importantly, acknowledging who we actually are, unfortunately, doesn't fall into our laps. Especially when we make new, exciting acquaintances, we tend to show ourselves in the best light anyway, and perhaps bend a little. However, the more authentically we approach new contacts, the more successful these relationships will develop. Number 4. Actually, you don't need anyone anymore. It is the irony of life and yet the pure truth. From the moment you are perfectly fine on your own, you would be ready for new acquaintances. Here again, the principle applies that we should give 100% in a partnership and not lazily 50% in the hope that the other person completes us. A relationship can only ever work if both halves meet at eye level and there is a balance right from the start. Helplessness, pity, and despair are not good positions from which something promising can emerge. Ultimately, we want to be loved, appreciated, and adored, not needed. So you can assume that your counterpart will see it the same way. Being needed, on the other hand, is often a one-way street towards dependency and loss of self. Number 5. You have shown sufficient patience. The fact that good things take a while was already known by the generations before us. Unfortunately, the universe's sense of time is not always the same as ours the same. Just because we would objectively think that it has taken long enough for the right person to finally appear at the door, our fate does not necessarily see it that way. Perhaps we have not yet internalized an important lesson well enough, or have not yet fully completed a healing process. Maybe there are areas of our lives that still need more care and our full attention than that we could devote elsewhere. The fact is, nothing happens for no reason. Everything happens at the right time, in the here and now. Wishing always helps, but the fulfillment of wishes is not in our hands. Number 6. You are convinced that giving is more blessed than receiving. Another person must not be our savior in need, our financier for lean times, or a free therapist for us. Only when we are truly, and with every fiber of our being, willing to put into a relationship at least as much as we expect from it, can such a relationship succeed. Don't keep thinking about what your life person should be like. Think better about what soulmate you could be for someone else. What are your strengths, your gifts? What special talents do you bring to a new partnership? Defining the boundaries and no-goes is usually not difficult for us. But what would be the encores, thanks to which we could enrich the life of another person? It will be worth the wait. It would be very unwise to try to interfere with the omniscient universe. Even if we could already burst from loud impatience inwardly, no way will lead us to the right goal if we make the calculation without the cosmic host. What helps us wait for that one moment when we are finally rewarded for our patience is the prospect of eventually winning the grand prize. Until then, we might waste our time on the internet or speed dating. Only the person who is meant for us will not necessarily be among them. It is right when it is easy, develops effortlessly, and grows without much effort and misunderstanding. If you enjoyed our podcast, feel free to give us a thumbs up. And to make sure you don't miss any new posts, subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you, and see you soon, Spirita Vivo.